What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're back with the 1996 Toyota Camry wagon again. I'm doing a quick oil change on it and I thought I'd make a video out of it. So let's get started. So first what you want to do is jack up your car. I've already put my jack in the jacking spot, which is going to be this little nub right here if you want to jack up the whole front end at once, which I don't see why you would not. Set up your jack stand, and I like to go, if I'm only doing an oil change, I like to go right here on the front subframe. It's a nice thick piece of metal. Just put it right on here and then slowly drop the car on the jack stands. There we go. And as always, you want to give it a little shake test. Nice and secure. The next thing I like to do is pull out the oil dipstick, let it hang, open the oil fill cap, just so I can make a note to myself saying, hey, there's no oil in it. Don't start it, don't go anywhere. And then we're gonna get our drain pan, start draining the oil. So here's your oil drain pan, or oil pan I should say, and this is the oil drain plug. It's a 14 millimeter. Get a wrench or a socket, whatever you want. Just give it a tap, loosen to the left obviously. It should break loose. I have seen cases where if a shop changed the oil last, unfortunately I've seen cases where people have had to use breaker bars. They should not be this tight because these threads are really delicate and they'll strip easily. Now as I'm loosening it, I'm applying upwards pressure on it. You don't want to let go of it until it's ready to go, otherwise you'll get oil all over your hand. Hopefully I'm not about to do that, but I can feel it that it's ready to go, and then you suddenly just pull and hand stays nice and clean, and then the oil drains slowly, or not so slowly, in your pan. So now you just let it drain for like a good 10-15 minutes. Alright, so while the oil is draining down here, it's still dripping very slowly, so I'm gonna just let it finish doing its thing. The fact that the car is jacked up in the front actually helps in this case because the oil drain plug is in the back of the oil pan, so the car being slanted backwards actually makes all the oil drain out. So in this case, it's good. The oil is still draining, so I now have some time to talk about oil. The oil I choose to use in this car is Castrol High Mileage, Castrol GTX High Mileage, 10W30. The car does take either 5W30 or 10W30. This has the V6, 3.0 liter V6, the 1MZ FE. You can probably see it right there, 1MZ. And it's suggested to put 530 in it. You can actually use 10W30 if the temperature outside is anywhere above negative 18 degrees Celsius or 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Although 530 is preferred because it runs for all temperatures. It's even good below that, but I do use 1030 because it's never this cold in the area where the car lives. So like I said, I like Castrol GTX High Mileage 10W30 for this car. Again, this is the V6. If you're looking for the 4-cylinder Camry, the 5 SFE, I do have a video about that. I'll link it down in the description. It's not on this generation Camry, but it's the same exact engine, so it will apply. Again, I'll link it down in the description. Go check that one out. I also use 10W30. It just so happens same exact oil, but I think I go into a little more detail in that one. Oil filter. I have a Bosch oil filter here that I bought online because I bought it in bulk, so I can save on money. I do the oil change every 3,000 to 4,000 miles on this car, so I want to have oil filters in stock for it and ready to go. And you can pick your brand of oil filter. I don't necessarily prefer Bosch. This is just what happened to catch my eye when I was buying them this time. Obviously a genuine Toyota oil filter will be the best, but that's totally up to you. Just this is the one I use. If you want to use it, feel free. Alright, so the oil is down to a slow drip. I think this is fine at this point. If you want to let it drain for longer, go ahead. But I'm gonna stop it here. Put the drain plug in, tighten it up or bottom it out by hand, and then it does have a torque spec. I don't know it, I'm not sure of it. I'll put it down in the description for you because I can check it later. But what I do when I don't have the torque specs on oil drain plugs is I just bottom it out like you just saw here. I'll loosen it again. I use the head of the ratchet and just bottom it out, and then I grab the end of it. It's a really short ratchet, and just give it a quick a quick tug. You just want to make it snug, and that's it. It will not leak if it's properly sealed. If it's not stripped or anything, it should be fine. Now that we've done this, let's take the car off of jack stands and remove the oil filter. Now that the car is back on the ground, I'm going to stick the oil drain pan back underneath. And the oil filter is located right here underneath the manifold. Let's get a light. All right, so the oil filter is located right here underneath the manifold. So it's gonna pour all over. There's no way of avoiding it. The motor mount is right underneath it, so it's kind of gonna go all over, but just center the pan as much as you can. That way you can catch most of it. Some of it might go on the exhaust, so it could get a little smoky a little bit after, but that's normal. It happens. That's how it was designed, so whatever. So hopefully you can sort of see what I'm trying to show you. This is the oil filter. I'm gonna grab it with two hands. You may or may not need an oil filter wrench. Sometimes rubber gloves will help because they grip better. Obviously not oily gloves also help. There we go. Unthread it a little bit, oil will come out. It's unavoidable, like I said. As it drains, just unthread it the rest of the way. And as soon as it comes out, I would tip it upwards so it doesn't pour out more than necessary, and then just carefully slide it out. Once you have it out, make sure it's not going to make a mess on the floor. I'll put it right there. Just leave it upright. It's going to stay. If not, put it in the box or something. But it does still have oil in it, so I don't know if you can see it, but it does still have oil in it, so just make sure it stays somewhere where it can't make a mess. All right, so what I like to do while the oil filter is still draining, open the new bottle of oil and get your new oil filter. Make sure it stays clean, and what I do is I pour a little bit of oil in the new oil filter just to pre-fill it. Not much, because this one's mounted sideways. So what's going to happen is, well, it's all going to pour out. And obviously the car was designed for it to be mounted sideways and for the oil filter to drain back into the system. But you do want to get some oil on this gasket. That way it doesn't go on dry. It helps seal, and it also helps it not stick, so that next time you have to drain the oil or change the oil filter, it will not stick too much. So I'm actually going to fill this a little bit more. Oops. All right, and the same way it came out is same way it's gonna go in. So gently bring it in there, that way you don't get any dirt in it. And then tip it and spin it. And if you don't put much pressure on it, but you keep spinning it, it'll find its threads. Obviously you do not want to cross thread this. It's very delicate. Threads are very fine and will be destroyed easily. So just bottom it out and then give it about half a turn. Max 3/4, not more than 3/4 of a turn. I usually go half a turn after it's bottomed out, and then I check it. So what you just saw me do is I slightly loosened it and then brought it back to where it wanted to stop, and that's it. You do not want to use an oil filter wrench for tightening these. All right, so we've tightened the oil filter, we've tightened the oil drain plug. Let's remove actually before we remove, let's give that a little cleaning down there. I'm going to spray some brake cleaner down there and use a rag, clean it all up, and then I'm going to remove the oil drain bucket. All right, so another reason why I use a container like this to drain the oil in is because, and I keep it clean every time I drain it, I completely clean it, is because I want to know how much oil comes out every time I do an oil change on any car. I know how much the car takes, but I want to know how much comes out, because that helps me figure out how much it burns, basically. I mean, yeah, some is going to be left over inside the engine, but not much. So basically, if the car takes 5 quarts and I only drain out 3.5, well, that's a lot of burning. So this is how, other than checking it periodically with the dipstick, this is how I gauge how much oil it burns. So this car takes 5 quarts of oil when you change the oil filter. I think it takes like 4.8 or 4.9 or something, but I just put 5 in it. 5 is good enough. And if you tip the oil container sideways, I did kind of make a mess this time, but it's kind of windy, so the wind actually took the stream of oil and moved it. But if you tip the oil container sideways, like I'm about to show you in a second, you will avoid making a big mess and spilling all over, and it helps the oil flow better. But you can just use a funnel and not be like me and spill. Anyway, so it takes 5 quarts of oil when you change the oil filter, which you should every time you change the oil. So I have a 5 quart jug. Just fill it all the way up, so just empty the whole jug, and then what I do is I just let it sit like this for a minute and then just let it finish draining. Meanwhile, I'm going to clean up my mess. Alright, once that's down to a drip, I call that done. Clean up my mess. I'll use some brake cleaner on this. Be careful not to put any debris inside the oil or inside the valve cover. This valve cover is pretty clean because I cleaned it last time I worked on this car. I took a wire brush to it, and it's an aluminum valve cover, so it's nice. And I wire brushed it, cleaned it off with some brake cleaner, and now it's nice and polished, sort of. But it's pretty clean, free of debris. But still, you want to be careful. So, oops, the oil cap fell, and because it fell, I'm actually gonna take it and give it a quick clean. I'll spray some brake cleaner on it as well. So as you may or may not know, brake cleaner dries very, very easily. I cleaned up the oil cap with some brake cleaner. I shook it and I blew on it just to make sure that it's completely dry. You don't want to contaminate the oil with any brake cleaner. The valve cover down there is a little gunky, but that's just this area right there. If you actually pop the valve cover, it's pretty clean. And that's just because it has a little valley right here, a little plate where the oil collects, so over time it got gunky. And also, if you don't know, it'll say it on the cap that you need 5W30, or like I just said, 10W30. So I know I put the right amount of oil in there. There will be a little bit extra on the dipstick because the oil filter is empty. Usually there's a lot in the oil filter. As you could see, when we took the filter out, it's a good amount of it poured out, and then just now I can pour a bunch out still. And the oil filter is pretty heavy right now, so it's pretty soaked in oil. The new one is empty. So what you want to do is, you have 2 options right now. You can either, which is what I do most of the time, I check the oil just like this with the car off before I start it. So what I do is take the oil dipstick out, clean it off with a rag or a paper towel, dip it back in all the way, pull it back out, and then you want to read it. On this measurement, you can't really see, but it's right where the F is. It's a little messy on the dipstick tube, which is normal. Oil can get stuck on the side of the dipstick tube, and then it gets kind of messy on the dipstick when you read it, but most of the time you can get a pretty accurate reading. So right now, you probably can't see it on the camera, but it's right at the full mark, maybe about 1 millimeter over the full mark, which is perfect because as soon as we turn on the car for the first time, the oil filter will fill up and it'll go right back to being perfectly full. Now the second option, this was the first option, the second option is to turn the car on. If you know for sure you put the right amount of oil in, turn the car on, let it run for 5 to 10 seconds until the oil light turns off, which we will do anyway, and then you let it sit for about 10 minutes and then you check it. That's a more lengthy process, but it does give you a more accurate reading. I have done that in the past, which is why I'm doing it this way now, because I know exactly how much it's supposed to read before I start it. But if you want to go that route, you can. Alright, so I just finished draining my dirty oil into my completely empty jug of oil. This is the one I used to fill the car, and you can see, or maybe you can't, but maybe you can. So it reads 4.5 quarts of oil, and 5 quarts go in. So I think this is pretty good. This was a 4,000 mile interval oil change. So in 4,000 miles, this car only burned half a quart, which is pretty impressive, I gotta say. It has 219,000 miles on it, and it's a 96, but it's been taken care of, and it definitely shows because it does not burn much oil whatsoever. and this is, I would say, a pretty normal consumption of oil for a car. Especially, it's pretty impressive for this mileage and this age. So now that this is done, let's go put a sticker on it, turn it on, run it for a second, and finish up. All right, now let's go put a sticker on it. I will link these stickers down in the description. Shut up. I will link these stickers down in the description if you want them. I bought them on eBay for super cheap. So let's see, the car now has 219,387 miles, which means if I do a 4,000 mile oil change interval, that gives me wiggle room to change it between 3,000 and 4,000. That'll come out to 223,400 miles. Service due date 6 months from now. It is May, so that's going to be November 11th, 19. In parentheses, I like to write myself the mileage that I changed it at. That way I remember, because I don't always do the same interval. That way I can remember what mileage I changed it at. So as you can probably see, this sticker is a little bit overdue. So it was really a 4,400 mile oil change. That's all right. There we go. We're all set. Now let's start the car and let it run for a second. Let the oil light turn off. Oil light is that one right there. That's the one you want to see turn off as soon as you turn on the car. It's not going to turn off immediately, but it will take a few seconds. That's the one you want to see turn off. All right, let's turn it on and run it for a second. As you can see, turned off very fast. I'm going to let it run for just 10 seconds, shut it off, check for leaks, which I'm sure there are none, but you always want to check. And then that's it. Off you go. All right, come back here, check for leaks. I see no leaks. Well, what the drip you just saw is windshield washer fluid that I topped off and spilled all over because I'm me. And those little drops of oil are from the draining. So nothing to worry about. All clean, all done. All right, so now that you're done, close your door to stop the annoying beeping because you forgot. Remove your weird hood prop because your hood struts are bad. Oh, now it wants to hold it up. All right, I see how it is. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope it was helpful. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Leave me any comments down below and let me know what you think, or if you have any other suggestions for repairs or anything if you just want to ask me questions. So I will see you in the next one.